These are the criteria for the February 6th, 2015 Supreme Court of Canada decision on a charter challenge of rights. Larry's explained that beautifully a number of times. So remember, Canada couldn't get the legalization of euthanasia and assisted suicide by legislation. It's been failing for 30 years since Montreal, ages ago. They then decided to use the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And this now becomes really important in our understanding why we're having such difficulty in conveying a different worldview when we speak to the issue of medically assisted death. They decided they would look to a charter challenge based on a rights and freedoms argument, and then they waited till they got a good-looking case and a judge who looked as if she would be, in this case, amenable to the change. You know the expression in scriptures, the children of this world are more canny than the children of light? Larry, that's part of your, ain't that the truth? I now know, direct, up front, and intimate, that what I saw with the Supreme Court decision in its extraordinary breadth, I was overwhelmed. I had to read it twice. Because this is not, read what it said. This is the decriminalization for competent adults. Competence. When you're sick, suffering, marginalized. Oh, let's talk about that. A grievous medical condition, including an illness, disease, or disability. Illness, disease, disability. Do you see the words dying or terminal? No, because they're not there. That is irremediable, meaning the patient, the means is unacceptable. And that causes, and this is the issue. The Supreme Court rightly claimed what it was all about, which is suffering. This is about the medicalization of suffering. I was blown away by how few people were blown away by this decision. And I'm going to tell you repeatedly before we end, the rapid normalization of this in medicine and in society is frightening. I want you to know that part of the catechetical demand I'm going to put before you is precisely because, first of all, across the major Christian traditions, we don't all have the same position on medically assisted death. This is scandalous from my perspective. But going to my own church, where euthanasia clearly has been taught as a sin, 80% of Roman Catholics polled in this country think medical assistance in dying is okay. As my good Irish Nana would have said, glory be to God, what has happened to us. So I'm saying I think this challenge for catechesis is the background. Otherwise, we've got this small, highly focused group fighting like with all of their might, using their energy and their resources to protect conscience, and the rest of the world is not giving a... Can I swear, Bishop? Okay. He covered his ears, damn. So, Supreme Court decision, I want you to know, and this is media, I'm with you, boy, I'm with you. The media valorizes a controlled death by choice. It hardly ever shows a wonderful hospice palliative care death. And the hospice palliative care people are among my most favorite. But the issue is that, in fact, any support that there was for this legalization was for those who were terminally ill and dying in intractable pain. That's what the visual image was. This Supreme Court decision had nothing to do with that at all. So, what I want us to start with here is the challenge that that decision presented to the long-standing Christian tradition of a good death. Now, I know there is no scriptural foundation for the death of Joseph. Poor fella, he gets such short shrift in the Gospels. And he was the one that the Father chose to protect Mary and Jesus, and to teach Jesus how to become a human and a man, a great guy. But look at this medieval depiction. The tradition in Christendom was that St. Joseph was the patron of a good death. And we use the word good death. All right? I mean, a happy death in some translations from the Latin. When you look at this picture, why might it have conveyed, if it truly represents in the piety, why might it have conveyed a good death? Well, we don't have time for me to do what I usually do, which is make you tell me. So I'm going to tell you. The death is at home. Joseph is surrounded by his most intimate others. His beloved wife on one side, and the beloved son that he has raised for the Father on the other. Joseph is a just man, ready to go to God, not fighting it, not fighting it. He may be in pain, but he's not suffering. He is ready to go to God. And as one young person actually at a recent, well, you could see this slide up close, Joseph is fixed intently on Jesus, and Jesus is touching Joseph. Got it? Hold that these features are the features that even up until all this medical assistance and dying came about, we in surveys said are the features of what we think is a good death. Now in a modern context, but hold that. Even more explicitly, and that's where the title of my book, Rediscovering the Art of Dying, comes. By the time you get to the 1400s, we have explicitly throughout the Christian world, and you'll see even post-Reformation, we've got fabulous Anglican and Lutheran, as well as tons of Roman Catholic writing on the Ars Moriendi, the art of dying. This was a formal teaching, practice, prayers, homilies, helping people to think and talk easily about their dying. It was actually teaching them the ars vivendi, the art of living so that you were in preparation for dying. Because, remember, everybody in this room who's a doc knows this, prolonged dying is a phenomenon of the last half of the 20th century. Throughout human history, people died like that. God bless you. Bring out your dead. Monty Python. I want you to understand that what happened here was that individuals and communities, it was normal and natural for them to think about this. But this truly was when death was not controlled for next Saturday at 4 p.m., but could come like a thief in the night. Now, hold this. This is crucially important for us. The Ars Moriendi, the medieval art of dying, assisted individuals and communities to live in preparation for death. It depended upon two fundamental features of the culture. One, the shared faith in the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Christian communities were the social community. And the importance of families and community and social organization and care for the sick and dying. It was normal. Even, let's go to rural Manitoba. Let's go down the shore of rural Nova Scotia. If you were a farm community, there was a back room, that's where Nana was dying. And everybody took care of Nana. And it was, I'm a Celt. My mother and father are both from Ireland. I mean, we talk about dying as if it's a topic of comedy. But Celts had, you talk about the difference, this cultural difference in being comfortable. But in our world, I'm suggesting that the issue of fear of talking about it, Dr. Kenny, no, don't mention the hospice palliative care word. Don't do that. The P word, palliative care folks, they want to change the name now because people think that it's a bad word. We don't want you to, because he'll give up hope when the person's dying. You only get one chance to die. And if you know that it's going to happen, you have this enormous spiritual opportunity. So,